welcome to the Concoction podcast, where we talk about everything and anything. Today we start off on some somber news, Christian. Rapper Nipsey Hussle, dead in LA, man, 33 years old. One of the bright spots of rap right now in a positive way. He was changing his community for the best, and great sound behind him, entrepreneur. And last I heard, he was even going to meet with the police chief in LA, maybe even this week, to talk about what they could do to stop violence in LA, which had gotten pretty bad, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy over there, huh? And that's pretty young, huh?
Very young.
Yeah. He had a long career, he just
long enough in the rap world.
Yeah, because he got some money, right? He was wealthy.
Right. He had already established himself, and he was at a point where, at this point, he was giving back to the community. So he opened shops where he grew up, and probably where he was getting into trouble, like gang trouble. He was now owning shops and stuff. And the good thing is they caught the suspect, man.
Yeah.
I believe his name is Eric. I'm not too sure of his last name right now, but they finally caught him, and I'm glad.
Eric, the fucking killer.
Right. At least there's justice, man. We don't always get justice, or at least this fast, when it comes to things like this.
That don't suck, that part sucks, that the people who is trying, to do something good, it seems like it's part of the problem, was part of his past, right? Some gang related situation. I mean, it's not completely clear on the whole details of the situation, but it seems like it was something on the past, right? Something got up to him.
The most that I could see right now, just reading up on it and stuff, and some of the official news that cops are giving, is that they have both been in relation, at least with gangs in the past, but this might not have been directly related. This might have been personal, because I guess the girl, the getaway driver from the crime, turned herself in, and I guess her statement was that she said that he had gotten Eric. I guess we're calling him Eric the killer. Eric had gotten out of the car at least 3 or 4 times, and went up to him to discuss. I guess you could call it discuss, or maybe argue. And at some point he came back and grabbed a gun, came back with the gun, and unfortunately shot this young, bright rap star, man, and hurt the 2 people next to him.
That sucks, man. That sucks. That really sucks, because the guy was trying to do something good.
Exactly.
And just because an asshole just decide to, take your life,
Just to survive that world, man. To survive gangs, first of all, and I don't know the specific area, but if you're talking South Central LA or South LA, just to survive that neighborhood, first of all, is already a huge plus.
Yeah.
It's already not a miracle, but it is really cool. Survive, succeed, make money, and then give back to that community. You don't see that very often, man. And it is very sad to hear that.
What do you think it should be the punishment for something like that, for the person, for the killer? Are you okay with just what do they call eye for eye? Or
eye for an eye.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't think, if it were eye for an eye, they would kill him, and I don't think he should die just like that. I think I'm no one to say what punishment should be, but there should be some long-term, at least be in jail for a very long time, because that sucks, man.
Yeah.
I'm just happy they caught him, man. Well, a lot of times when a rapper is dead, the end of that story is, and they still haven't caught the killer, or we don't quite know, or because it was amongst themselves, the cops are treating it like, well, at least they're taking each other out. But this time, thankfully, the killer was caught, and he'll come to justice. I don't know what kind, but at least he's caught, and there'll be justice.
Yeah. Did they ever caught who killed Tupac?
Tupac. Well,
I just know that there's a lot of
Yeah,
jokes around
right,
that, so
right.
that's the only reason I know. I don't know nothing else about it.
Right. I wasn't able to like give you an answer because there's so many theories on it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just know that it was between Tupac and Biggie,
yeah,
Biggie Smalls. And unfortunately, as you probably already know, or the world knows, they're both dead. So
yeah,
that story didn't end very well.
yeah. That's crazy, huh? That's
Yeah.
whole there's a lot of conspiracy theories
Yeah.
around those. Tupac is dead, no? That
I, I
the
have
government.
I have a feeling the more we as people or as a society, the more we love somebody, like a celebrity, a star, the more there'll be theories. Like Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah,
John F. Kennedy, Elvis. Like the more you love the person, they'll never have a clean death.
yeah,
It's always got to have something to do with aliens, drugs, heart trouble,
CIA.
conspiracy, government conspiracy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. But it's like, have you seen there's one documentary on Netflix about the people who believe in the Earth is flat. The I don't remember the name of the documentary. It's so good. It's an amazing documentary, but it's scary at the same time. It's scary how many people is actually believe in that stuff. You know,
Right.
they sad, very sad. This part of the documentary, one of the conferences of this was here in Denver,
Oh no.
and it was like huge, and the tickets were like 120 something dollars, and it was kind of, I think it was sold out or something like
Oh my
that.
God.
I was like, really? I thought you people were better than this.
Doesn't that always suck when it's your city or like
Yeah,
unfortunately like when it's your excuse me when there's a crime and it's like your racial background or something like you put your hand on your head and you say fuck man like come on like
yeah,
we're better than this or unfortunately even in our sports right I got the classic Broncos shirt on today but like when our Broncos lost horribly in this recent Super Bowl like and you know to the 49ers in the late 80s or early 90s 55-10 or something like same thing forever that record exists and forever whenever there's a talk of it I'm like why us or why yeah.
yeah, that sucks. But I'm kind of used to because like as a Colombian, you know, we tend to fuck it up a lot. Every time there's somebody got arrested for drug dealing shit, there's always like two Colombians were involved in that. I'm like, God damn it! I remember,
like please no
yeah, I remember when the marijuana was legalized here in Colorado. Like,
Uh-huh.
the first time, like the recreational one,
Right.
they stopped. Somebody got arrested because they brought like a bunch of marijuana illegally.
Oh my God.
And of course, there was 3 Colombians involved. I was watching the news. I was like, oh, of course, yeah, like,
It had to be, right?
It had to. And then why we're surprised that we had that, that fame.
The fame, yeah.
I was like, fuck. But and we're not like that, okay? I don't even smoke shit.
Right. It's unfortunate when that happens, man. But you always just gotta shake your head and say, ah. But you know, what makes it hard about that kind of thing is when there's like racial tension in political and racial tension in the country makes it even worse, man. So like when you're like now with this business of the wall coming up or like certain tensions when certain groups feel stronger to blame somebody of a certain color or a certain race, it makes it even worse when someone of that color, of that race, do something terrible. Because you're like, don't you understand? Like, I know you live in your own world, but there's more at stake here. Like your little petty thievery isn't fucking worth this whole big issue. You know? What I mean?
Yeah. It sucks. Yeah, but sometimes we just had to deal with it. It's kind of like, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not like all like that. It's definitely there's more good people than the bad ones. And
Absolutely.
it's just we're just stupid like that. We tend to judge a whole race
Right. Based on
based on
right.
two people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part, that we even do that like based on extreme religious acts, right? Like when
Yeah.
there's a Muslim terrorist that claims Islam and he does that, we jump on that bandwagon of hate and like see how they are. And the same when a quote unquote Christian goes and invades a country, they're like, well, look at the Christians. And so
Yeah.
this whole mess messes up everything, man. Every stable thing that you could think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is like that. I think a bit. It seems like it happens only here more than anywhere else here in the States, just because we have um, so many immigrants, from so many different
Right.
countries that, every time there's something like that happens, we tend to be like, oh, yeah, those,
Right.
whatever.
Put a face to the blame.
Yeah.
It's the melting pot effect, right? Where there's so many of us and so close together that no matter what we do, like someone's gonna be unhappy
Yeah.
and someone's gonna judge. And that's the beauty of America, and the tough part of it as well is
Yeah.
that we could all share in each other's glory, but we also like judge each other pretty harshly.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, I probably can say for sure, 100% sure, based on my country, and based in Colombia, when I was living there, I never ever met like somebody from, I don't know, Middle East, or like even
Oh.
from Mexico. Like I think I told you before, like never met anyone from Mexico until I actually,
Really?
yeah, I think there was one soccer player in the league, and that was
Okay.
the only Mexican I knew. See, so you never ever met people from like Middle East, or like even
I see.
Europe. Sometimes maybe people from Spain. But or like Mormons, missionaries. You meet some, from here, from North America, but
Right.
you ever seen people from like different countries, or you barely hear like, oh yeah, there's a Muslim church or whatever they have,
Right.
here down the block. There's no such a thing. We almost everybody's Catholic or Christian, but
Right.
we never have another different religions. You go here, you drive around town, and you see
Right.
Koreans.
It's the holy blocks, man. There's like 7 different religions and churches on
Yeah.
every single block. Yeah.
And it's cool. It's really nice. Imagine if we can just get along. Like, we're not probably all here on what kind of hippie type of thing to say, but it's true. It'd be really cool if you all get along. Like,
Right.
just kind of be in peace.
Yeah. Just
and
yeah.
just chill. Learn from each other.
What is that famous saying? You don't have to love me, but at least we could work together, right?
Yeah.
That some version of that saying is what parents say, or like, and as a country we could adopt it. Like, yeah, we don't have to love each other, but we could definitely make it work. We could get along, and with the right care and attention for each other, maybe we'll get to like each other,
Yeah.
or love each other.
And learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Imagine if you get more Christians to learn more from Muslims, and
Right.
same
And
thing,
vice versa, yeah.
I think we'll have more peace.
Most definitely. Yeah.
But nope.
Yeah. Well, you see it, man. You see it. You'll see little versions of it, and that's what I loved about like college and stuff, is you see that at its highest form. And some of my best friends were Muslim and African and like different countries, and we all shared meals. We all shared time on the field. We played soccer.
Yeah.
It was like, you see it when we're all younger. You see little levels of it, so it's possible.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate when we take it to a corporate world or a bigger world that sometimes our friendships fail, or we don't know how to take it to the next level.
Yeah, it gets more complicated too, probably when you're talking about families and
True.
kids and work.
Right.
When you're young, you're probably just thinking about
Having fun.
Yeah, when is the next party? So
True.
or like remember that we were saying that the government, like Democrats and Republicans, the only thing they got along, they were on the same pages when it comes to porn. Nobody wanted to do anything against porn.
No laws against it, no nothing. Yeah.
We should be more on the same page about more stuff, but I guess
more stuff that we could have fun with. Yeah.
Yeah. And to make better laws, and
Right.
make more progress probably. But here we're fighting to create division between
And
people. And
with the unfortunate news we started with, not only are we fighting amongst ourselves, but we're taking out the good ones, man. Like like the bright spots is what you take out, and they die so young, man. Like he was so young, so young, and some of the people that make the biggest differences seem to go so young, man.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
33, you're saying?
33, yeah.
That's very young. Has a whole life.
A whole life ahead of him.
Yeah.
And I believe, I could be wrong, but his wife was pregnant, man.
Oh.
Yeah. His wife or girlfriend.
Even
I'm not
worse.
too sure if they were married.
That's crazy. Yeah. Was he like a clean person? Like, or he was in drugs or anything like that?
I don't know his personal drug use habits, but I do know that he was clean cut. A really well dressed dude, good looking dude, and didn't show signs of like. And if you see interviews, man, I've caught a few interviews on YouTube. He was so positive, man. He was so smart. Even they were asking him random little, I call them the little rap videos, right? They were asking him, where are you coming from? What's your name? What do you like to rap about? This and that. And his answers were so corporate, man, so ahead of his time, so like business, like so like.
Yeah.
Like goals. He in his face, you could just see future. You could see goals, and to take people out like that, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Huh? It's one of those questions we'll probably never know.
We'll never know the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to think about, like, you have, I don't know if you want to call like the brave, be so brave to go and kill somebody, or I don't know what do you say that? What would be that? Like, just be strong enough, or like
I would call it the craziness, the audacity.
Yeah.
But you know what makes me sad about the whole thing is the numbness that we have for each other as people. Like I'm thinking, what has to fuck you up so bad? Like in this case, this gentleman Eric, like what has to mess you up that bad? To first of all, to need to be in a gang, right?
Yeah.
To live that lifestyle, and second, to be so numb to another human's life, where it's like, oh, I'm not getting along with you. We're arguing. We're not on the same page. How could my next option be a gun and end your life?
Yeah.
Like the numbness that takes is like, I feel sad for him, because as a human, if you're that numb to kill someone, it's like something in you is really, really jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Just to think about it, just to say, I'm gonna take somebody else's life.
Right.
Just that right there. You say, I'm gonna kill another human being right there.
Right. Like it's not a piece of fish, man. It's not a deer. You're not hunting. This is another human being.
Yeah. I learned that though with back in the days, talking about late 90s, when the narcos era in Colombia were like big time. So if you were to go into a club, you have to be very careful. If you see beautiful women, don't look at them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if they were one of the narcos' girlfriends, that you can get in trouble.
You could get in trouble.
A lot of people got killed just because they were,
Flirting,
going and flirting and saying stuff to the narcos' girlfriends.
Oh, wow.
And imagine, it's just like something like that. You probably, sometimes it depends on the narco, you could just look at the girl, like it's staring for,
a little too long.
Yeah, a little too long. They will see you. That's it. You were gone.
Jesus.
Yeah. Imagine how dumb that shit is.
How unhuman it is, man.
Yeah.
I don't even want to call it like how evil, because I mean, we're all capable of some kind of evil, but like how unhuman, where it's like at a club where it's like a compliment to stare at someone beautiful because you're all having fun, you're all dancing. You take it as, oh, I need to kill you. It's like that. That in itself is ridiculous.
What do you think it would be the narco mentality? That like, to me, it's like, I'm not sure if it's like some type of to show power.
Yeah, I was gonna say blinded by power.
Yeah,
like possessive. Like when you have power, unfortunately, the next step is possession. So they need to possess. Like the more control they have, the more powerful they feel.
Yeah.
Even in government, the crazier the politician, the more he feels like he needs to control, the more possessive he feels. So I have a feeling in this scenario that you talked about, it's I need to possess you. Like I control you as a human, and anything that gets in that way will pay. So
Yeah.
like if someone's staring at her equals you're getting in the way of my possession,
Yeah.
that's just sickening, man. Even trying to describe it, I'm like having trouble
Trying to make
hold on to the ideas. They're like ridiculous.
trying to be reasonable
Yeah.
around the idea. It's impossible.
Reasonable with unreasonableness. I'm like hurting myself here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is pretty crazy. And I was asking if he was sober or not because I was reading the news too about Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones. He got sick, so he had to cancel some of the shows for the next tour.
I saw that he had a Denver concert canceled as well. Yeah.
But I saw the age. I was 75.
Wow.
That fucker's still going around. I was like,
Wow.
And he put on social media, feels sorry to disappoint all my fans. I'm working to get ready to back on tour. I'm like, just relax, man.
Just take a sit at the beach and have a drink. Yeah, just relax.
Go to your private island, just have some drinks, enjoy the rest, whatever time you have left.
But hey, man, maybe it's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
75 is a ton of years.
But that fucker's still like, and this is my thing. I was thinking, I was like, when he goes to concert and plays live, you know, he still has his voice, like,
right,
and his moves. You know, he's not the type
right.
of singer that goes and stems, you know, from the microphone and just sings, and that's all.
Right.
No, he will go around the stage, and you know, do his thing. His voice still fine, you know, better as ever
Right.
been, you know, and you're like, holy shit, you're 75.
You're 75, right?
And you've done so many drugs and alcohol and fuck, I guess in a way looking good for a
Right.
75, you know.
Right.
Sure. Okay, I want to think about like I will get to that point. I'd probably be 15 thinking about retirement already.
Yeah, I don't even want to think that far ahead, man. But just being around at that point, just being around is a plus.
Shit.
Let alone jumping off stages and
Have you seen Keith Richards, like the guitar player? That fucker keeps smoking.
Keith Richards.
Yeah,
Oh,
still
man.
smoking and drinking and all those shit.
Right.
Those fuckers never gonna die.
That was one of the sad things. So I saw Tom Petty live, man, here in Denver. Maybe a year or two before he passed away, and I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. You know, as a melancholy feeling, you know, a classic American icon. And one thing that did make me sad in that concert was as I'm listening to him, I realized that he didn't move, man. He stayed in the same spot the whole time, right on stage. And I thought, at least walk to the right, walk to no, man. But the one thing I was thankful for is that it still sounded like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't hit the notes fully, but it sounded like Tom Petty, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah. His voice was still there.
Still good. Not 100. Maybe I'd say 75, 80. But hey, man, what more do you want?
Yeah, I mean, you can expect to doing the same shit when they're like over 60 and jumping and running and
and with those type of icons, like you're talking Rolling Stones, you're talking Tom Petty, half the time they don't need to sing, man. All the crowd is just like knows every single song, yelling it at the top of their lungs. So they're allowed to take breaks. They're allowed to breathe because you can't even tell. Everybody keeps singing, you know?
You know that I like when the crowd sings, but I hate it at the same time.
Yes, because you're there to hear them, right? Yeah. I could sing in the shower.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's cool, but come on, sing. It's fun to see it like probably in little parts of the songs.
Exactly.
But no, you know, when they take it too long, like, yeah, okay, enough. You know,
right.
Get back to your singing.
There is a moment of impression. Like it almost gives me the chills sometimes where you really like the band, you really like the song, and there's a part where like thousands of people sing just the right note, and you're just like, oh shit. Like it gives you that feeling, right? But I know what you mean. Like when it goes too far, you're just like, all right, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Like I paid for something here.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but there's one artist, one singer that it takes. It's always does that shit. Like it takes too long,
Oh
going
man.
going around to people, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, we get it.
we
We
get
get
it.
it. Yeah.
People knows your songs, so cool. But sing.
Right.
Yeah, but that's another crazy life, like those guys, that level, the fucking party, the
Right.
the late nights, probably very little sleep or
Yeah.
uh yeah, I'm surprised when they go over 60 and they're still doing it, like I'm surprised they're still alive,
In the rock world, going over 55 is an achievement. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
well, he made it, right? He lived a good life.
Yeah, I mean, imagine they go year after year, going playing hundreds of concerts every year,
Right.
partying so much. When they were young, they probably partied like hell, like every single day.
Every single day. Yeah.
How many? Because they don't have to do anything. They just pretty much play, go party. You don't even have to go and kind of trying to flirt with girls.
Right.
Girls will just jump on them and like.
I was about to say maybe when they're going to record, make new songs, they need that creativity, they sober up. But to be honest, the more documentaries on these like classic bands I watch, the more I realize, based on their own words, they're like, I got most of my creativity from the drugs. And it's like,
Yeah.
then they didn't need to stop ever. Like,
more damage.
more damage, the better the music.
Yeah. And it seems like that's for all the arts, all the people, they're good artists. They when they have like some trauma, some damage from their lives, they tend to be like greater.
Right. Right.
Think about like comedians. Comedians, there were big ones who have like some difficult childhoods
Exactly.
and dramas, and they're funny as fuck. They've probably been through so much pain. They
Right.
somehow they use that pain to make it funny,
and are some of the better athletes that we know, and some of the greatest of all time come from some pretty dark backgrounds. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that pain, when you're in pain, when you suffer, when you're struggling, that brings out the most in you. That brings out absolutely the best that you could tell in life is pain. And that's only because in pain is when we realize what we missed out. So I think artists in general, athletes, artists, their pain is their way of saying there's a better way. They create the world they didn't have.
Yeah.
So like when anybody, any artist, any athlete tells a sad story, I know where they're coming from, and I all I could think of is, to be this good, it must have hurt, because this is your expression to the world saying there's a better way. Like, you tried to kick me down, but there's a better way.
Yeah.
And this is my creation. Like, this is what my life should have been, and I'll show you. And that's what I love about art and sports, man. When people take themselves from the mud and they give us that, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, this guy knows life,
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry, little technical problems here. Yeah, one of the things that surprised me on comedians is like, I mentioned comedians because it's people that the work to their job is to make other people laugh, and when you probably went through so much trauma, it's pretty crazy that you can do that.
Exactly.
Like Robbie Williams, imagine that was such a great actor, comedian and funny guy,
Right.
really cool movies, really nice movies. And I never thought of he would be depressed or anything
Depressed,
like that.
yeah.
And to at some point just say fuck, kill
Exactly.
yourself. That's pretty dark, like probably who knows what was your feeling inside, like what were you going through, to you were okay to making other people laugh, but you were probably crying inside, you know.
Exactly. They say some of the best comedians that have lived or that are out there say that the hardest thing is for someone to make them laugh. It's like when a comedian or when someone is really funny, it's so hard to make them laugh, man. And you brought up depression. One of the saddest things or the sneakiest and darkest things about depression is that it doesn't come out physically, man. So anybody that's depressed usually has a mask. They've adjusted, they've learned. Life has taught them to wear a mask, whatever that mask requires. Robin Williams was comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so hurt that my mask will be, I make you happy. And there's people that like make it in the corporate world, in the business world. And you're like, what do you mean he killed himself? Or what do you mean he was sad? And it's like, yeah, that was their mask, success. You know,
bankers, their maxes make people miserable. Not gonna prove your loans.
That's the evil, man. Evil of depression is that it's a private mental battle, and you create these masks to cover up that hurt, but there's no way to do it, man, unless you face it. You know.
Yeah, it's sad, you know, because that's why, you know, going back to the artists that take drugs and shit like that, you know, normally they will start taking drugs because of something, you know, deep, some trauma,
Right.
but then, you know, you're thinking like, damn, fuck, they make a great album. They were doing better when they were in drugs, you know, like kind of selfish, you know, process of look at things, you know, but
and that's why a lot of these famous bands end up hating their managers, man, because like a good manager has to promote the work. He has to make sure the work survives. So if he sees the band going nuts and getting drugged up, hurting themselves, but the product is good, like his job is to protect the product. And everybody else, including the people's family, the artist's family, is saying, please help, like get them out of this. And he's thinking, if I do that, the job stops, the product stops. So when these guys sober up or they get older, a lot of times they don't view their managers in a good light because they're like, dude, I was in deep, deep crap and you could have helped. But as the businessmen that they are, they're thinking, yeah, but then maybe you wouldn't be this rich.
Yeah.
Or I would. Unfortunately, they're thinking I wouldn't be this rich. Right?
Yeah. I think that at least in the music industry, like when it comes to good big managers that have stopped a lot, I know that was the case a lot back in the days.
Right.
It was crazy. Even the manager would bring you drugs and shit.
Right.
They were insane. Because at the same time, they were giving the artists like a crappy contracts.
True.
Those fuckers were taking all the money, you know, and it was horrible. I mean, a lot of artists, even if you hear Aerosmith history, like they weren't that rich. Like at some point, they were like, "Fuck, we've been screwed so much because we've been like just partying, doing drugs and all this shit that we forgot about like the money. You know,
right?
It's cheaper giving you cocaine, heroin, you know, party than, you know, give you the right amount of money that you deserve for an album, you know.
Right.
So that has got better. Has got better.
I'm glad, man, because those previous managers were like the biggest enablers.
Yeah.
And like you said, the worst, because they were keeping the money, but they were enabling your addiction. That's even worse, man.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of evil.
I saw the one of the podcasts with Steven Tyler, Joe Rogan, Steven Tyler, and it was weird. It was just a weird thing. I'm a big fan of Smith, but it was just weird to see him, Steven Tyler. I mean, he had done so much drugs that you can tell.
You can tell.
You can tell that he's already off, you know.
Oh,
because
gotcha.
all the drugs. You know?
Okay.
He would have like 100 notes in there because he was like, I'll forget everything.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I don't remember shit. You know, even in his book, he was saying like he snored like $10 million. He would put it on numbers or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because all that much drugs that they did.
Really?
Like, I mean, and think about it. from the 70s, 80s.
Right. When they didn't, not only did they not care, but maybe the scientific world didn't quite understand what some of these drugs were going to do.
So of course, now, the effects after, are pretty crazy. You see him and his speech is just weird. His memory is just it's completely off. All the drugs and alcohol, probably. I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, alcohol is a drug too, I guess. So
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty insane. To see those guys in those situations. And he was saying that he didn't. At some point, yeah, he didn't have that much money. That you would think he would have.
Right.
By now, he is making it now. Like few years, like probably 10, 15 years, start making like the real good money.
The real amount. Yeah.
But for the longest, they don't have that much money.
Right.
And here we are like thinking, yeah, let's focus on like,
Rich,
swimming in,
right.
in dollars. But no, it's pretty crazy world of music. It's a horrible industry. As much as we love the music, the industry is very difficult industry.
It's hard, man. It like swallow you alive, right? But the same with actors and actresses. They have a similar impression as the music industry, that it'll either kill you, it'll give you what you want, it'll give you glory if you have the right amount of talent, the right amount of luck, but man, more often than not, it'll swallow them alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably every industry, where you have people that just trying to take advantage of you.
Right.
It's not probably just music, I just say the music, but it's probably because I have a little bit more knowledge in that industry than the other ones. But I'm pretty sure in the other ones too. There's so much corruption in the Olympics, One of the places you probably never think, nah, they're clean.
Right.
And here...
They're probably clean as the 40-year-old, 17-year-old soccer players show up on the field and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That guy has a beard. I thought this was under 17 competition.
Yeah. Or like those gymnastics lady girls that were being abused.
Oh, right.
Like all the Russians, they're being using like so much drugs and shit to get those athletes to the next level. They're practicing with the
RoboCop level. Yeah.
It's crazy. The Olympics, there's so much corruption in that shit too.
Right.
So yeah, I think every industry has their problems.
Right.
We're human, so yes.
Right. We all got problems. But...
Yeah. I guess just humans. We are like that. It seems like that's our nature. Just trying to be competitive. When you are competitive, there's going to be one that has no limits and start taking advantage. And
yeah, someone who tries to find the next level up. What gets me to the next level? And because we all have the ability to be talented and athletic at some point, people who are into getting to the next level, no matter what, say, okay, I can't do it the right way. I better do it the wrong way. And that's unfortunate, man.
What would be your limit if you were like, if you want to make it to some level, you have a goal, you're like, I don't know, become famous or something. But what would be the limit?
I think my limit, I've always thought about it this way. My limit would be my health. So like, I'm not even looking at times for fame, but even at my job or anything, any endeavor that I take on, if it messes with my health, like if I notice that physically I'm not sleeping, I'm getting sick, or like I'm not healthy, like even my anxiety level goes up too high, like I had to learn the hard way to bring it down. Like, okay, this isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Like the balance of positive isn't what it's worth, Yeah.
What was that guy of the Hollywood producer that was raping girls or
took advantage of a lot of people?
James Weinstein,
Weinstein, or is that his last? Was
yeah,
that his last name? Something like that. Yeah.
some shit like that. And I use famous just because that's probably
It's
easy
what,
to.
and it's what we know. What most
Yeah.
people would know. Yeah.
So you'll be okay if he calls you like, okay, you get the you get this movie, but
This and that. You'll be surprised, man. In that world, I can only imagine how many times, and we'll never know about it, or we're starting to know about it. But like, for how many decades has a poor girl or a poor guy had to make that decision just to make a living?
it's over. It's time. You want to be a star?
Right.
Take your pants.
Oh man, I can't even imagine.
What would you do if you were in that situation? Let's pretend, this in a situation.
I don't even want to imagine it, man.
That you want to be a famous actor.
Yeah.
That's your goal.
Right.
You're Hollywood,
Uh-huh.
and the movie's coming, the great movie. This is your opportunity.
And I have to give up my physical integrity,
Virginity.
my physical. Yeah, man.
What would you do in that situation? Because at the end of the day, you're probably thinking, "This is my goal right here.
Like that's my career.
This is my dream."
Right. I would say no, man, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these unfortunate victims that ended up going through something like that probably thought no or felt no, but ended up having to do it or did it or got tricked into it. And that's the thing, man. None of these stories come up like that. Like, at least initially, it doesn't seem like these guys show up and say, hey, I'm going to rape you and this is what is going to happen because of it. These are the benefits. It's not like a job interview.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, in some of these cases, a lot of them, they were drugged. Or it was like, I felt like he was my dad. And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? So, like, you never know. Honestly, you never know. Because I'm sure any of these victims never thought, man. It sounds like they never would even think that could happen.
Yeah, but at some point, because I mean, if it's a minor, okay, I kind of get it more. It's a child, it's probably a different story, different level. But if you're an adult, and they pretty much telling you can have that role,
Right.
that next movie, whatever.
Right.
But you just need to, get naked right now. At some point, you're conscious of that, like.
True.
Or like, what,
I guess at that point it's like you said, how bad
you want
do you want it? And it's unfortunate that it would come down to that. But yeah, I guess how bad do you want it?
And I'm not saying that's not an abuse of power. Of course it is.
Oh, shockingly, yes, of course, yeah.
But at that point is
Right.
what's your limit? When you're gonna say no? Like it's not funny, but like the crazy part is like there's always like an ugly ass guy who will do that shit.
Right.
It's never like the
Absolutely.
pretty or the pretty guy or
Right.
like the pretty girl that would be start to
Right.
doing this shit. So you're like, oh man, it sucks, like probably the story would be different if you were talking about like some beautiful woman as a
Right,
producer and
right.
tells you like, well, you get the next role, but get naked.
Yeah.
I most likely be like, what?
I I definitely don't think that beauty should matter, like the way you look.
Yeah.
Like, no matter, they could be the best looking person, but any abuse of power is ridiculous. I don't think the looks should matter at all. But like, honestly, when you're in a kind of a rape situation, I'm pretty sure good looks is the last thing anybody's thinking about. And fortunately, none of us, at least that I know of, have gone through it. But I'm talking of these celebrities that have gone through that.
Yeah. No, you shouldn't be thinking about it. But I'm honest. Like,
Yeah.
if you put 100 guys over there, like they want to be actors,
Yeah,
and tell there's a beautiful producer, she has, she's in charge of the next big ass movie,
Right.
but you had to sleep with her. out of those 100, how many gonna say yes?
Yeah. I'm sure we're like you said, how bad do you want it? Everybody's ambition is different. I'm very sure there'll be some that do.
It's like
I'm
90%.
I'm personally saying I wouldn't, but like I said, most people that have done it probably at some point thought they wouldn't either. So you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're saying no too because you're not in the situation. You're not in the
Right.
situation that's your dream.
Like
You-
a survival thing, yeah.
yeah, that's not your dream career
Right.
or anything like that.
True.
So it's easier when we're like that, you know.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easier on the
yeah.
outside, yeah.
Yeah, but if that's your dream, and on top of that, you're saying this is a beautiful person. This, you know, keep saying that, like especially for guys, and for females are like they're more smart than us, so they definitely it's easy for them to say no. But for guys, it's a beautiful woman in front of us.
Right.
We'll start thinking with
And maybe that's where it comes in the double standard. Like these situations shouldn't be different for a guy or a girl, but maybe they are, right? Like
yeah,
like if a teacher, for example, seduces a young girl, like the general public like outcry is different
oh yeah,
than if the lady is a pretty young but still older than this person, right?
yeah,
Like and I've seen it, we've seen it happen
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot, even lately, like
all the time.
and the jokes go around, right? The job water cooler jokes, like wouldn't I have been lucky, right? If I was 13 and someone did that to me. But
Some calling victims, so they were calling lucky ones.
right. But I
Yeah.
bet you when it comes to like a guy doing that, a guy teacher doing that to a female student, there's no jokes at all. Like
Yeah.
the standard is different. And maybe it should be different, but in reality, when it comes to like innocent children, it shouldn't be different.
Yeah, 100% right. You're 100% right. But yeah, and even like the law, even the punishment, is
They treat it different, yeah.
Yeah, that's what is crazy. That double standard is crazy. Yeah,
Right.
but I don't know. I mean, it is a reality. It happens, and it happens all the time. You know, and that's what I say. You know, women, they're more smart than us. So you know, in situations like that, you know, they're tend to be smarter than the guys. You know, but like an example that I'm putting, you know, if it's a beautiful guy or it's a beautiful girl,
Right.
what will you do? You know, I
Right.
think women will more likely. Some of them will say no. You know.
I think in that case, it would depend on the attitude of the person. Because like I said, when most of these like cases happen, it's always a surprise. Like there's always a level of they deceived me. There was trust. So it depends on the attitude. Like if an attractive boss, female or guy, like treats you like crap and has an offer for you, I'm sure beauty is the last thing you're thinking of. You're just disgusted by the inhumanity of the person in general.
Yeah.
But like you said, if there's a little deception in it, and for example, if the boss was female, like who doesn't like a beautiful woman, right?
Yeah.
And if she's kind of deceiving you, but at some point says, hey, listen, if you want this job, this has to happen, and there was already some kind of deception, then you're right. Maybe the question would be confusing because you would be like, oh my, like you're using me. Like I'm literally a piece of meat.
Are you using me? How much are they paying?
Right. But there's a job involved, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the other part. You know, because you're doing this and there's something else is coming. You know what I mean? It's money wise. Your life is gonna change. So you start thinking probably in all those things. You know, I'm talking more like for these people who was trying to become an actor, like a big stars in Hollywood. They probably were thinking, okay, if I do this movie, I'm gonna be the next one. Yeah, it's gonna be famous. It's gonna be rich. You know. Because not every actor is rich in Hollywood. You know, there's a lot of ones that are coming out and they have to
try.
Yeah,
I mean, they all have to try, but
yeah.
you're right. There's some that aren't there yet, obviously.
Yeah, and they're living with another, you know, have roommates. They don't have
Right.
like mansions or dozens of dollars like that. So they're in a position where they're, you know, like fuck, you offer me how much?
Right.
So definitely it's an abuse of power, but it's crazy, like the limits of people. What
True.
would be your limit? When you're gonna say no?
Yeah, that I mean each person decides, right? And
Yeah.
we each individually know. But you're right. It could be hard. I'm very sure it could be hard.
Yeah. Never been in that position, but never. I hope I had to be in that position.
Yeah, hope not to be for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just probably the weirdest shit ever. But
Yeah.
anyways, what's coming next week? I hear there's some cool guests we're gonna have next week.
Right. We're trying to get I could call him a friend at this point. We're trying to get someone over to review Shazam with us, man. Yeah, very interesting guy. He's made some money through coin selling and like comic book selling, but he has a pleasant, decent job also at the state. So he's a well-developed business person, but he has really cool hobbies like coins and comics. And we're going to see if we could get him in here next week and help review this big movie coming up, man. Shazam.
I'm looking forward to learn how to make money with selling coins.
Right.
That's the type of business that we need to know. Like,
right. Little coin collections that could make you some money. That's cool, man.
little tips how to make more money.
Right.
Who won't want that? Like
Right.
we are looking for that. Cool. Well, I hope people liked this episode. It was a little bit of everything. We just wanna keep in touch with the people who listen to this podcast. We were more like relaxed today.
Yeah. We called it a little tea time. A little tea time podcast. Just like give you guys a little taste of the podcast. We weren't gonna make it all out. We weren't gonna go all out today. It wasn't gonna be that big, but we want to stay in contact and make sure you guys stay in contact with us. So.
Definitely. That's why you see how we went from rapper to Rolling Stones
right.
to
compromising situations in the business world. Yeah.
But I think everybody has this type of conversations at the bars or with friends when they're chilling.
This is literally a tea time or a beer time.
Beer time.
Type of conversation. Yeah.
Without beer.
No beer. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. So where they can find us?
So keep in contact, keep in touch, and you could definitely find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at the Concoction Podcast, Twitter, the Concoction One, and you could definitely listen to us, catch up on our previous episodes at Spotify, Stitcher, and iTunes.
Yeah. Definitely for anyone who's listening, you can find this episode in all those platforms and also YouTube. Please subscribe, follow us, and like us, share.
Yep.
Family, friends, with anyone who might like this. I really appreciate all the support of anyone who listens to our episodes every week. And definitely we'll see you next week.
See you guys later.
Later.